The glucose meter read 487. My hands shook as I checked again, hoping the first reading was wrong. 489. I fumbled for my insulin pen, clicking the dial to prepare my dose. Click, click. Nothing. Empty? Mom, I called out, my mouth already dry from the ketones building in my blood. Did my insulin delivery come today? She appeared in my doorway, not making eye contact. About that, sweetie. We had to cancel this month's order. The room tilted. You? What? Chloe's favorite band is having their farewell tour. The VIP packages went on sale this morning and you cancel my Insulin? My voice cracked. Type 1 diabetes wasn't a choice. It wasn't optional. Insulin was literally the only thing keeping me alive. Dad joined her in the doorway, already defensive. You can ration what you have, Victoria. Maybe use a little less with each meal. The concert is once in a lifetime. I stared at them, unable to process the words. My insulin supply was down to maybe 2 days if I severely restricted my food intake. A month's supply cost $340 with our insurance. The VIP concert tickets they bought for my 19-year-old sister, $500 each. They bought 2, one for Chloe and one for her best friend. I could die, I said slowly, as if explaining to children. Without insulin, I will literally die. Mom waved her hand dismissively. You're being dramatic. People survived without all these modern medicines before. Maybe eat less carbs for a few weeks. Chloe's been dreaming of this concert for years. I held up my glucose meter. I'm almost at 500. That's hospital territory. I need insulin now. The pharmacy is closed, Dad shrugged. You'll have to figure something out. We're taking Chloe shopping for concert outfits tomorrow. But maybe Monday we can see about getting a partial refill. Monday, it was Friday night. They left me standing there, discussing Chloe's need for a new outfit that would photograph well from the VIP section. I heard them downstairs, celebrating with her, popping champagne because she got the tickets she wanted. My little sister, the aspiring influencer with 100K TikTok followers, needed to document every moment of her blessed life. I rationed hard that night, skipped dinner entirely, took a quarter of my usual bedtime dose. By Saturday morning, my meter read 612. The nausea had started. The cramping. The desperation. I called the pharmacy, begging for an emergency supply. I'm sorry, the pharmacist said. Your insurance shows the order was canceled by the primary account holder. Without their authorization, I can't override it. By Saturday afternoon, I was vomiting. Chloe live streamed herself trying on concert outfits while I dry heaved into the toilet. By Saturday night, my vision was blurring. I texted my best friend Sarah, think I'm in trouble. Glucose too high to read. She found me unconscious on my bedroom floor at 11 p.m. I woke up in the ICU 3 days later. Diabetic ketoacidosis, the doctor explained. My blood had literally turned acidic. My organs had started shutting down. Another few hours and I wouldn't have made it. Your friend saved your life, Dr. Martinez said. Your glucose was over 800 when you arrived. How did you run out of insulin? I told him. His face went very still. Your parents canceled your insulin order for concert tickets. He repeated each word carefully as if he'd misheard. VIP tickets, I croaked. Once in a lifetime. He left the room. I found out later he'd gone straight to the hospital's legal department. Sarah stayed with me, holding my hand while I recovered. She showed me her phone. She'd been documenting everything. The texts I'd sent her over the past months about my parents prioritizing Chloe. The screenshots of their social media, posting about their beautiful baby girl, always Chloe, never me, while I struggled to afford supplies. The GoFundMe she quietly started when she realized how bad things were. People are furious, she said. The story's spreading. But I wasn't thinking about social media. I was thinking about Melissa Chen. Melissa was a patient advocate I'd met at my endocrinologist's office. She'd given me her card, told me to call if I ever faced discrimination or access issues with my diabetes care. I'd never imagined I'd need it for discrimination from my own parents. I called her from my hospital bed. They what? Her voice was deadly quiet after I explained. Victoria, that's medical neglect. That's attempted manslaughter. I'll be there in an hour. What my parents didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything for years. Every time they borrowed from my medical fund for clothes pageants. Every time they told me to tough it out when I needed supplies. Every single time. I kept receipts, texts, recordings of conversations where they dismissed my medical needs, a paper trail of their priorities, closed once over my survival. Melissa brought reinforcements, a lawyer who specialized in medical neglect cases, a social worker who'd seen too many diabetics die from lack of access, a detective who was very interested in the timeline of events. The hospital bill was staggering. ICU care, insulin drips, the works. Over $50,000. Insurance would cover most, but there'd still be thousands in deductibles. My parents would expect me to figure it out, like always. But things were different now. I was 22, legally an adult, and Melissa had helped me file for medical emancipation from their insurance. She'd also connected me with emergency assistance programs that my parents had never told me existed, programs that could have helped me afford insulin all along. The VIP concert experience includes a meet and greet. Chloe had posted, "Can't wait to tell the band how much their music means to me." The concert was in 2 weeks. My parents hadn't visited me in the hospital once. Too busy planning Chloe's big night. That's when I played my first card. I contacted the band's management company, told them my story, sent them the links to Sarah's documentation, the hospital reports, the detective's interest in the case. Explained how their VIP tickets had nearly killed me. Their PR team was horrified. The last thing they wanted was to be associated with a story about parents choosing concert tickets over their diabetic daughter's life. They canceled the VIP packages and refunded the money, citing technical difficulties. Chloe's meltdown was epic. She posted a tearful video about how someone had sabotaged her dream experience. The comments weren't sympathetic. Sarah had made sure the real story was already out there. But I wasn't done. See, while I'd been struggling to survive, I'd also been excelling. Full scholarship to nursing school, graduating with honors while managing my diabetes. I'd written my thesis on medical neglect and chronic illness management. My professor had called it groundbreaking and submitted it to journals. What my parents didn't know was that it had been accepted, published, and it detailed, anonymously but clearly, my own experiences. The times I'd rationed insulin, the hospitalizations, the near-death experiences, all because my parents saw my life-saving medication as optional. The publication caught the attention of patient advocacy groups. Speaking invitations started coming in. Suddenly, I had a platform. And a story that resonated with thousands of other type 1 diabetics who'd faced similar neglect. My first speaking engagement was scheduled for the week after Chloe's canceled concert. The honorarium was $5,000. More than enough to cover my insulin for months. But the universe wasn't done with poetic justice. The district attorney's office, prompted by Dr. Martinez's report and the detective's investigation, filed charges: medical neglect, reckless endangerment, and because I'd nearly died, attempted involuntary manslaughter. My parents were arrested at the mall. They were shopping for Chloe's concert outfit, the concert that had been canceled, though they didn't know it yet. Local news covered it. Parents arrested for allegedly choosing concert over daughter's insulin. Their mugshots went viral. Chloe tried damage control, posted about how it was all a misunderstanding, how I was jealous of her success. But Sarah had receipts, screenshots of family group texts where mom told me to stop being selfish when I begged for insulin money. Videos of dad saying Chloe's happiness matters too when I shown him my dangerously high glucose readings. The internet destroyed them. Chloe lost 80% of her followers in a week. Brands dropped their partnerships. Her influencer career evaporated overnight. Turns out, people don't want to support someone who celebrated while their sister lay dying. The trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Hospital records showing repeated DKA admissions. Pharmacy records showing canceled orders. Bank records showing concert ticket purchases made minutes after canceling my medication. They were convicted. 2 years in prison, suspended to probation with conditions, mandatory parenting classes, financial restitution, and a restraining order. They couldn't come within 500 feet of me. The restitution was the beautiful part. They had to pay back every medical bill caused by their neglect, every hospital stay, every emergency intervention, every single cent I'd spent trying to stay alive while they funded Chloe's dreams. It bankrupted them. They sold the house. the cars, clothes, designer wardrobe, everything, and it still wasn't enough. They'd be paying me back for years. I used the first payment to start a foundation, Insulin Over Image, providing emergency insulin supplies to diabetics whose families prioritized wants over medical needs. The launch event was held the same night as the concert Chloe never got to attend. We raised $100,000 that first night. The keynote speaker, the lead singer of Chloe's favorite band. He'd been so horrified by the story that he'd volunteered to help. He auctioned off the exact VIP experience my parents had tried to buy, with all proceeds going to the foundation. No concert is worth a life, he said from the stage. Music should bring families together, not tear them apart. The video of his speech went viral. Chloe commented, begging him to understand it wasn't her fault. He never responded. I graduated nursing school debt-free, thanks to speaking engagements and the publicity from the trial. My focus? Pediatric diabetes care, making sure no child goes through what I did. My parents? They work minimum wage jobs now, every spare cent going to restitution. They live in a tiny apartment on the wrong side of town. Chloe works retail, her influencer dreams as dead as my pancreas. They sent one letter, through their lawyer. Not an apology, they weren't capable of that. Just complaints about how I'd ruined their lives over one mistake. One mistake, as if choosing concert tickets over life-saving medication was like forgetting to buy milk. I framed the letter. It hangs in my office at the children's hospital where I work, a reminder of why I do what I do. Every day, I ensure young diabetics get the care they need, regardless of their parents' priorities. The other day, a 16-year-old patient told me her parents wanted to skip her insulin refill to afford her brother's sports equipment. Give them my card, I said, handing her Melissa Chen's information. And this, I gave her a pamphlet about our foundation. Will it really help? She asked, tears in her eyes. I showed her my insulin pump, my continuous glucose monitor, my medical alert bracelet, all things I'd bought myself without my parents' help. You know what's once in a lifetime? I asked her, your life? And it's worth more than anyone's entertainment. She smiled through her tears. My brother's not even that good at sports. My sister wasn't that good at influencing either, I said. But that's not the point. The point is you deserve to live. Last week was the 5-year anniversary of my ICU stay. Sarah and I celebrated with sugar-free cake and a donation drive for the foundation. We raised enough to supply insulin to 50 families for a month. My glucose was a perfect 95 that day. Chloe posted about it, trying to take credit for inspiring my advocacy work. The comments section taught her otherwise. Some lessons it seems she'll never learn. But I learned mine. I learned that family isn't who shares your DNA. It's who shows up with glucagon when your blood sugar crashes. It's who fights insurance companies by your side. It's who sees your life as priceless, not an acceptable loss for someone else's photo opportunity. They had no idea what I would do next. Honestly, neither did I just knew I wanted to live. Turns out, that was enough. That was everything. And unlike concert tickets, life really is once in a lifetime. I make sure mine counts.